EA Sports and the PGA Tour proudly present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. From the Monterey Peninsula, live opening round coverage of the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Blue skies on top of blue waters, right next to one of the prettiest pieces of green grass on this good earth, as we check out the leaderboard here in round one. We're looking at a tie at the top at 7 under par. Meanwhile, our featured golfer in good form, coming into this one fresh off a victory a week ago.
And that ball looked good in the air. You'd like it to be a little closer, but still inside 40 feet. Just going to have to be careful with the lag putting.
The pace, absolutely perfect there. Down the slope, it's in for a birdie. And that is hopefully a harbinger for the week ahead, as he is very quickly to 1 under par.
Frank, interestingly, this hole number 2 plays as a par 4 for the U.S. Open. It is a par 5. It's absolutely gettable, and players must take advantage.
Certainly, Rich. Off that back tee, really you've got to grab a driver. I know there's bunkers left and right, But the decision is whether that tee shot finishes in the fairway, because if it does, you're going to have a crack at this par 5 and 2. If it doesn't, then you play the layup.
It's going to be up the left-hand side. Normally they stick a tee in one end and a flag in the other. You're advanced the way. But that second shot on this par 5, that completely took the green out of play. Airmailed. That is a big mistake. Can't ask for a better start to a round than this. It is back-to-back birdies at 1 and 2.
Well, Frank, here we are at the third. Severe dog leg left, and I'm just curious how much of that dog leg the big hitters might think about chewing off.
Rich, the game has changed so much. If there's a hint of a breeze behind, I mean, really, have a crack at it with a driver. It's about 350 yards, really, to the front edge of the green. But if not, you've got to negotiate those 3 bunkers on the right side. And well, depending on what club you want to have to head off the tee, decide which one of those bunkers you want to aim at.
So a big drive and not much needed to carry here for his second.
Really, it's a waste after that tee shot. Just very average approach.
Nota Begay down on 3 green to look at this putt for birdie.
And I don't think he'll want to deviate from a straight-in read, just a little uphill.
Oh, yes. Plenty of pace to get up that slope. It is in for a birdie.
Frank, this is where it becomes really obvious where you are. You're at Pebble Beach. There's the Pacific Ocean, and this begins that magnificent 7-hole stretch right along the ocean. A fun hole, not long, 331 yards up the hill. We're at the 4th.
Yeah, and each one of those 7 holes that you referred to, Rich, there's a common theme, which is don't look right, because that's pretty much the ocean the whole way around. And this one here, that decision has to be made. 330 to the front of the green. If there's a hint of a breeze, you try and drive it. Otherwise, really, you've got to worry about that pot bunker. It's between 230 and 250 yards. But as I first said, do not go right.
Not the best of 3 woods there off the tee, and this one's going to wind up in the bunker. All right, not exactly what you're hoping for, but safely on the putting surface with birdie still in play. The pace, absolutely perfect there. Down the slope, it's in for a birdie.
First par 3 of the round, and Frank, I'm reminded of the great history that Jack Nicklaus has here at Pebble Beach, and that goes well beyond what he did. as a player.
Well, that's for sure. And we know his playing credentials, but he won the second of his 2 U.S. amateurs here in 1961. Actually said that was the best he ever hit the golf ball, but his legacy really as a designer, you see right here in front of you. I never got to play the old fifth hole, which is further left, but this is an absolute beast. It plays around 190 yards, very narrow green, and that is a cliff on the right, believe me.
And that one not on the green, but not in a terrible spot either. Sitting up in the short grass. Now chipping up to the putting surface for this, his second shot. Yeah, that's a good putt. It is a par here at the fifth, and he'll remain at 4 under. Well, this is where the excitement starts to build early in a round at Pebble Beach. I know it's the 6th, but you're coming into possibly one of the greatest stretches in all of golf. This is a 498-yard par 5, goes up the hill, Pacific Ocean in the distance, chance to make an eagle here, and chance to feel really good about where you're headed. Beautiful tempo to that swing, and this is going to wind up squarely in the fairway. From the fairway, let's go to Noda.
Wonderful tee shot here. Biggest challenge is you cannot see the pin sitting on the green. You're going to have to pick out a point along the edge of the cliffs to get the ball on line.
Got every bit of that, threw it all the way there and got it to stop. Home in 2 on the par 5. So a chance now to bring this par 5 to its knees. A long eagle putt. Yeah, that's good pace. Just a little offline, but not too bad from that far away. He's been automatic on this front side. This for birdie. Okay, well done there. It's a birdie here at the 6th. And he's going to get to within 2 of the lead as he moves to 5 under par.
Frank, the 7th tee is almost spiritual. You just want to hit a little baby wedge that kisses the clouds and drops softly on that green. Then you want to stare out at the Pacific just with a whole lot of gratitude.
Yeah, when I first played it, Rich, I couldn't help but be sort of in love with the beauty of the surrounds. Plus, I couldn't believe how short the hole was. And I thought, well, this is sort of, you could almost throw it on this green. And then I played it on a windy day.
Yeah, that's a good spot right there, and a chance now for a birdie here at 7. Chance now for another birdie. Yeah, well done. It's back-to-back birdies here on this front side. And he moves to within a shot of the lead at 6 under now for the tournament. Now to one of the most picturesque par 4s in the world, the 8th hole here at Pebble Beach. Jack Nicklaus, who won the U.S. Open here, called it simply the greatest second shot to a par 4 anywhere in the world. And that one lands in the first cut, Frank.
Interesting choice coming ahead here. It'll be interesting to see how he reads this lie.
the hands came through beautifully there. Good thump of the sand and a good chance to save par. Okay, good roll there. It is a par here at the 8th, and he'll remain at 6 under par.
2019 U.S. Open number 9 was the hardest hole on the golf course. Frank, give yourself certainly a good crack at 4 by hitting the fairway.
And that's all you wanted to do in 2019. It's fine to say all too, but having to hit the left side of this fairway just to keep it in play, and then once again hit into, I know we say this a lot here, but a very narrow green and a very small green, but this time with a long club. Well, that one's finished in the first cut. It's going to be a little bit harder to spin it from there with a little bit of grass around the ball, but still not too bad. Oh, that was a good strike. Took it straight at it, too. That one bounce and check. Well played.
Now this for another birdie. Oh my, that singes the right edge, but doesn't go down. Okay, that's in for his par here at the 9th. And the scorecard's looking pretty good after 9 holes. That's a 29 6 under par.
Start of the inward half and another big and bold par 4, Frank, with the ocean yet again running the entire length of that right side.
Yeah, you call it the ocean, I call it the world's largest water hazard, but look again on the other side of the fairway and you'll see those 3 bunkers. Needless to say, they have to be avoided. But you do actually have to hit your tee shot just inside those because, once again, you've got a fairway that tilts left to right.
Uh-oh, this is well left.
Well, that drive was enormous. I know it's in the rough, but that is long.
So a poor tee shot at 10, now his second. Well, he'll be disappointed with that, no doubt.
Yeah, swing didn't quite look right on that one.
So that's in for par to start this backside. And he'll stay right where he is. We head now to the 370-yard par 4 11th, where ideally you'd like to favor the left side of the fairway to open up the approach into one of the smallest greens at Pebble Beach. Uh-oh, that's not going as intended.
Too strong for this hole, eh? Ran out of fairway and into the rough. Big hit, though.
Yep, played that nicely. That'll work out just fine. Chance now for another birdie. Disappointing. So that brushed in for par here at 11, and he'll remain right where he is.
First par 3 now on the backside. Frank, this is sort of the forgotten hole, the 12th, 202 yards.
It is. It's in the corner of the golf course. If you look at the right side of the screen, it's very narrow, but that's actually the entry or the gateway. And the reason why I say that is that's the full width of the putting surface. If you're going to take the bunker on, you've got to carry the ball another 8 or 9 yards. But one thing in your favor is this hole plays 10 yards downhill.
Okay, that one's dancing. A birdie putt down to Iona.
Well, this is a big swinging putt from right to left from start to finish.
And this will be a 5-foot putt here. No missteps there. It is a par here at 12. And he'll stay right where he is. Here we are at Pebble's 13th 401-yard par 4 that some consider a bit of a breather on the course. Birdie is definitely a possibility here. The 13th here at Pebble Beach is sort of a forgotten hole. It's only 401 yards of par 4, but I promise you'll remember it if you make a birdie here, and you'll have a good chance if you put it in the correct position off the tee. Boy, a good round going here on this Thursday, and that another fine effort off the tee. This game not just about length, it's about putting the ball in the right position, and that's what he's done. Really a good opportunity to make a birdie. Let's see what he can do from 87 yards, second shot.
In golf, you know, you've heard the term mulligan. You'd love that to do over there, wouldn't you? I mean, that's just, that's very poor from that range.
Well judged. That is in for par here at 13. And he'll remain right where he is.
Frank, the 14th hole, par 5, it is one of the most difficult par 5s in championship golf, isn't it?
It certainly is, Rich. Not just because of the length of the hole, 570 plus yards, but reachable only really by the longest hitters in the right conditions. But it's the third shot. I've got to rank the third shot as probably the hardest short wedge shot, right up there with the 15th hole at Augusta. That had to be in the rough the whole way. One more bounce back on the fairway.
Frank, a chance here to get home in 2, a chance maybe to do what Gary Woodland did on his way to winning the 2019 U.S. Open.
Yeah, Gary hit a great 3-wood, but I don't even think he was trying to hit that on the green. Look at that big gaping bunker left and short of that green. You would think that's to be avoided, but no. That's actually where you want to finish up because it's such a hard pitch shot. There's no point laying up. If you can get it into that front bunker, it's a relatively simple splash out shot. One of the few times you want to hit your second shot into a greenside bunker.
Almost a great shot, just missed it a fraction to the right of this green here at the par 5.
Yeah, but a chip and a putt, still make 4.
Now this for another birdie. That's how you play this 14th hole. That's in for birdie. And he's going to move to within a shot of the lead now at 7 under par.
Here at the 15th, a good drive, Frank, would be right down the middle. A bad drive would be on 17-mile drive. As scenic as it is, it's not where you want to be, is it? It's out of bounds.
Well, you can't afford to go right. You can't afford to pay for that real estate on the right either. So, yeah, anything down there. And fortunately, it's a downhill tee shot. I know there's sort of 4 bunkers really down the left side, but really it's the pop bunker that has to be avoided.
This one starting a little left off the tee.
Now, it's in the first cut. There's always a little bit more grass around the ball that has to be factored in.
Just 37 yards to the hole. Okay, not too bad there. Chance now for another birdie. Yes, never in doubt. It's a birdie here at 15. And he's going to continue to crawl up the leaderboard. He's to 8 under now, 1 shot back.
This is a really pretty hole, the par 4 16th. What's the right line here, Frank?
Well, if you want to pick out something in the horizon there, if you look closely down there, the tallest tree in the distance, that's sort of right bang in the middle of the fairway. You will not see your tee shot land and you won't see it run out, but that's the line.
Gotta think this an extra half club or more as he sets for his second into the wind. Well, had a good look at the green, but couldn't cash it in. In the rough now, wondering what might have been.
Ball wasn't sitting too bad, rough not too long. Good decision on the flop shot. More importantly, well played.
Okay, didn't want to let that one get away. It is a par here at 16, and he's going to remain at 8 under.
Well, here we are, 17th hole, and this is where you can make your mark on the sport. Frank, so much history at this par 3.
It's just a great hole too, Rich. You know, that hourglass-shaped green on the angle. But you're right when you talk about history. You go back to 1972, and this hole played into the breeze. It was a one-iron for Jack Nicklaus. Said one of the greatest shots he ever hit. Actually hit the flagstick, nearly went in. And, of course, one of my favorites is 1982. Tom Watson had missed this green to the left, and the late Bruce Edwards was his caddy. And they were looking for options because they were in such a perilous situation with the US Open on the line. And Watson said, well, what about if I just hole it? And if you look really closely at the footage, as Watson starts to run across the green, he's pointing his finger back at Bruce and saying, I told you so. And then just a few years ago, too, Gary Woodland hit a chip it on this green and made 3.
Outstanding strike right there, right off the center of the club face, and a good chance for birdie. Now this for another birdie. Goodness, that is too bad. That would have been a good birdie, but not to be. No problems there. That's a par here at 17. And he'll stay right where he is. Well, you're not just playing the 18th hole at Pebble Beach, are you? You're taking a moment to soak it all in. Stand on that tee box, look out at the Pacific Ocean, think about what's happened here, who's played this hole, who's made history here, and then you let it rip. No issues here. That is into the fairway. Now, after the big drive, this a good distance here for a second to the par 5. Well, Frank, it is a pleasant walk under any circumstances, but how good is it when you've knocked it on in 2 here at the 18th at Pebble Beach?
It's a lot better than picking one out of the Pacific Ocean, Rich. That was just a great shot. And finally, you can exhale. The job is nearly finished.
Yes, a great putt there. It's in for eagle at 18. A final look at the leaderboard shows our featured golfer on top by a shot. So, some good playing here in round number 1, Frank.
It certainly is, Rich, but there's a long way to go. It's just a sliver of a lead.
So, for Frank Nobilo, Nota Begay III, and Iona Stephen, I'm Rich Lerner. We'll see you next time on EA Sports PGA Tour Golf.